some real simple and quite effortless hip mobility sequences, routines that you can do without much equipment at all. All you really need is a floor space and yourself, and then potentially something to hold onto. I'm actually on a padded floor here at the moment, which is actually great for strengthening the muscles in the feet, and also the stabilizers into the knees and the hips. So our hip joint is a ball and socket joint. We of course live in a world where we train it by sitting in chairs to think it's a hinge joint. So what we want to try to do is retrain into this space, and one of the first things we can start to do to wake up our hip is just standing on one foot, softening the standing knee, and then just letting the floating hip just move. Now, there's no right or wrong way how to do this, and as I said, I'm on a padded floor here at the moment, and I recommend potentially standing on something that is a little bit uneven, but definitely barefoot. The reason we want to be barefoot is so that we actually strengthen the 4 layers of muscle on the underside of our foot. So all I'm trying to do here is let that left hip free flow. You'll see that I'm using my hands, getting into the hamstrings. I'll change feet, but I would recommend doing this for approximately a minute to 90 seconds on each side. So again, really soft knee. We really want to make sure we've got a soft knee, so we're strengthening the VMO, the vastus medialis, on that standing leg. And then again, just letting the arms be loose. If you're rigid up here, what's going to happen is your movements will be rigid. So let your hands be really loose, your arms loose, your head loose. And it's kind of, I always describe this as like the car yard man. If you've ever seen one of those blow up kind of things in the car yards that blow in the wind, that's what you want to be here. So really, really soft through this movement, really epic way to start to open your hips, to communicate to your body that you're about to do something with your hips. No point going into any hip mobility if you're dead cold. So it's a nice way to warm them up. Again, 60 to 90 seconds on each side would be appropriate to start your hip mobility sequence. Next pattern is moving into one of my favorite floor flow routines that I've been doing for many years, and it's really cool because anyone can do it. This is where we want to start, but if your hips don't like this, or your knees, then you'll be starting like this with both of the feet flat on the floor. We want to create a 90-90 position, right foot in front of left quad. As I'm moving through here, I'm going to let my knees slide to the other side. I keep the feet hip distance apart the whole time, and using my hands, I'm supported as I move through an internal and external hip rotation. Adding on, what you can start to do is lift the hands off and start to make this a little bit more in depth for the hips. You'll also find that you're going to bum shuffle forward a little bit and move. Your core will turn on, but then you can also add in a nice fold, and that will then get a stretch into the piriformis, which of course gets really, really tight and angry if we sit in chairs a lot. We can hold a lot of stress and tension in that area. So as I said, this is one of my favorite things to do, and I could honestly stay here all day, but I've got other things to show you. So what we're going to do from here is wake up through the joint. Now, again, all of this is optional. Option number 1 from here is the 90-90 position. We're going to try to keep everything relaxed up here and lift up the right knee off the floor. And you really will love me for this one, I guarantee it. But if we want to get that nice hip mobility, we're going to give this a go. And you're going to aim for 5 of these. Now, an option for this one is to lift it up and then extend it forward, bringing it back, and then the knee back down. So lifting up, extending, holding that knee up without tensing all of this, and back down. Lifting up, extending forward, and back down. And just to even out my body, I'll do something on the other side. Again, I would aim for approximately, say, 5 to 10 on each side of these. 90-90 position, relax through the upper body, core on, lifting up the knee. Get a feel for how your hips are. Cramping here is super normal, especially if you sit in chairs a lot. Remember, if we're doing that, it's about 8 to 9 hours a day that we might be sitting down, chairs, cars, couches, and that is not particular what the joint's made for. If this feels good, you can lift up and extend, and then come back down. Let's go a couple more of these. We want to be moving really slow, like we're moving through quicksand. I'll just do one more on this side, but a couple of options there for some pyramiding into your hip sequence. Now, to add on to that sequence and also to get your hamstrings, because again, these guys get really tight if sitting in chairs, so hamstrings, quads, hip flexors and psoas all shorten when we sit in a chair. So what we need to do as humans is try to rebalance that back out. So I'll share with you this really nice little hip routine. It starts from that 90-90 swivel, and what you do is you bring the back leg around and we step into like some sort of a lunge. It doesn't matter how deep the lunge is or where it goes, you push back and then we work into closing the hip off, coming back through for a 90-90 hip swivel, and then the back leg comes around, internal rotation, and you find a lunge, right? Again, you can choose to stay there and practice this pattern. If you do happen to sit in chairs and have tight hammies, you might start to add in a bent knee into the lunge and then a hip hinge, getting a really nice extension into the back of the hamstrings. So hip swivel, maybe you don't use no hands, take a lunge and extend. Drop the knee down, comes back, hip swivel, back leg around, bend the front knee, extend back leg open. I'll go one more just because it feels good for me. Coming down, hip swivel, back leg around, and lift. So a couple of things you can do there for your hips, and of course, a bit of a no-brainer into the hips. We need to be practicing a squat like this up to about 5 minutes a day. If you look back into Ido Portal's work, he will say often to squat for 5 minutes a day, like this, in a passive squat to elongate the spine, and to hang from a set of rings like this, or a bar, or something you can find, for up to 2 minutes. So we're getting space in the vertebrae. So it's one way to have a really healthy spine and also to have healthy hips. The last thing that we can do if we're actively trying to get a little bit better into our hip mobility is these active sort of pancake folds. Now, I'll sort of face this way. This is using a 10-kilo plate, and there's a few cues here that are really, really important to get right. It doesn't matter how wide your legs are, what matters is that the sit bones are on the ground. So you may need to sit up on something to make this happen. And you could use a lighter plate, but I'll use a 10 for the purposes of today. What I mean by active legs is I'm really pointing the toes and I'm squeezing the quads and I'm pulling the femur bone into the hip socket. So very, very active legs. And when I fold forward, I'm looking for a flat back. As opposed to a yin yoga forward fold, you'll see that I'm relaxed through here and I've rounded my spine in flexion. This is not what we're doing today. I do have other yin videos if you'd prefer to jump on that and do a yin class or complement this work with that. It's always going to be beneficial. But for this particular version, I will take you through in real time. So what we're going to do is we're going to just open the body first without using the plate. So squeeze the quads, I point the toes, and pull the femur bones into the hip socket. And what we're going to do is we just actively, keeping the body long, I like to think, pull the perineum up, lead with the sternum and keep the chin up. And we're going to pulse here for 10, 9, I'm looking forward, 8, nice flat back, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, core on, come up, keep the legs as is, turn the torso towards the right leg, same deal, pulse 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, flat back, 4, 3, 2, 1, chin up, chest up, turn torso, squeeze the quads, pulse 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, coming through that, I would recommend doing that twice. So I'm gonna, again, as I said, I'll do this in real time. As we're coming down and through, I'm going to get you to work again. You'll find you'll have a little bit more range. We reach and we go for 10, 9, chin up, chest up, 8, legs are squeezed, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1. Nice long spine, torso turns, legs are strong, pulse 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chin up, chest up, torso turns, last one, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Before we go into our plate, we're going to do some straddle lifts. So as you are, pointing toes, squeeze quads, lift, 10, 9, 8, 7. Don't worry if nothing happens here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet come together, round the spine, hollow out, point the toes, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm warming up very quickly here. Now, because I said I was going through in real time, I will again go through one more round of these with you. Please don't worry if those straddle lifts, nothing happens. What we're trying to do is increase our hip mobility. If you're anything like me, like I've spent many years sitting in chairs, so this becomes really difficult because our hip flexors are not used to this movement. So again, think about hollowing out, point the toes, squeeze the quads. We're going to lift for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time, legs down in front, hollow out, sternum, pubic bone together. 10, 9, 8. You can always go singles. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take some time, bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees hang out wide. I hope you're looking forward to this, Emmanuel. It's actually good, so it's nice to do. It's just, yeah.
As you're sort of talking through, I think it's obviously.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I always do it here, but I don't usually do it in a bracket or a sequence. It's quite nice to get it all done, but it's yeah, definitely feeling it. But it's hopefully we'll get those areas.
I was going to say, I'm just looking at it. I'm in pain just watching.
All right. The last one we're going to do here is a weighted pancake. So what I'm going to do is use the plate to get some depth. And then I'm going to actually relax with the plate on my back. So now that the hips are really nice and warm, and never ever do this one cold. Remember, you don't have to use a plate, you don't have to do it at all. You can just stay with the other options that I've given you to move forward. But if you're coming on the active journey with me, point the toes, squeeze the quad, bring the plate behind you like this, hold onto it with your fingertips. Okay, now you can always put a yoga block in front of you or something that your elbows can touch down onto. Okay, we're going for 10 pulses here. So we're gonna go for 10. So I'm all feeling really open in my hips because of what I just did. So I'm actually getting a fair bit of range already, but just go to where your range is. I'm keeping the core on the whole time, going for 10 pulses. I'm actually not sure how many I've done, but on the 10th one, we're gonna hold this down. Hold down and just breathe with the plate on your back. All right, core on, slowly coming up. Take some time here to pause. I like to roll the plate to one side and then just soften over one leg. Take a couple of breaths there. Roll the plate to the other quad. Just helps keep the quad down. And then just soften over that quad. All right. Just for today, I'm just going to go one more round. If you do have time for 3 rounds of this stuff, absolutely go for it. But I understand we're in a world we don't have a lot of time, so whatever you can do is perfect. Core on. We've got one more final round here, and then this one we're going to relax with that plate on our back after the 10 pulses. Core on. We pulse chin up and chest up for 10. Legs are really, really, really active. Your quads are on, and your femur bones are pulling into your hip socket. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And wherever you're relaxing, you're going to just start to fully relax down now. We'll be here for about a minute, letting that plate find somewhere to settle and finding your way down to the most relaxed version of your pancake possible. try not to hold tension in your face. Try to simply let go and breathe from the belly. Notice on every exhale, you have an opportunity to soften and let go. Still keeping some activity in the legs. For today, if you'd like to stay longer, please do. If not, take an inhale. Stay and soften on your exhale. Now, belly to spine, chin to chest, active legs. Reach one hand behind. Allow the plate to slowly come down off a rounded spine. Slowly bringing yourself up to seated, then bend the knees. We just take it down to our back for a few moments here. So as you do, bend the knees, find a bent knee supine position. Stay here for a moment or two. Now, if you would like to add in a supine twist from here, you're more than welcome, but I'm going to end the video here. 3 to 4, relatively easy, simple to follow. Maybe that was 12 minutes, I'm not sure. Hip sequences that you can modify, you can progress, regress any way, shape or form that you'd like to. But again, like anything, it's repetition, consistency, and sometimes doing the things that we don't want to do that may be hard for us. And it's those things which are challenging for us where we grow the most. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you go, and see how that plays a huge role also in the functionality, not just of your hips, but also, of course, your lower back and the mobility through your spine. So thanks for playing along. I'd love to know how you went.